Hi YouTube. Today's topic is again on pet discrimination, and I'm glancing through some notes here, and it may be a bit disorganized, but I'm trying to cover as many topics as possible here. Okay, so for pet discrimination, because of it, it keeps our taxes very high. People are either not adopting pets or turning them into shelters due to inability to pay the exorbitantly high discriminating pet rent deposits, both non-refundable and refundable, that are often not refunded when landlords or management companies can get a little greedy. I've experienced that more with management companies. Um, and I was trying not to mention things, but Mark Taylor Residential at Dakota in particular, they proudly proclaim to be a smoking community, and they also require 60 days notice. So that can put people in a really bad spot, and yet, if I remember correctly, they don't even tell you what a new possible rent would be for renewal until 30 days. So they really leave you pretty stuck and stranded to make choices that would keep them in power and us feeling out of control. So that's a problem with some of these management style companies, that their concern is not for tenants, it's strictly for money. Um, okay, let me see. Okay, so the taxes, the way that we have higher taxes is for animal control expenses. The animal control expenses, and I probably am not even thinking of everything, but I volunteered and worked in enough animal controls and shelters that the things that I can think of are the buildings, the equipment for surgeries, supplies, employees, utilities, the design of the kennels and the property outdoors, the management staff. You're talking about high paid salaries when it comes to people in charge. And we are paying for huge expenses here, and this is in every city and every state. We have an abundance of animals and not enough homes, and you have tons of people that would love to adopt or love to keep their animals, and they just can't, just because of the charges. These discriminatory charges that the management companies are doing, or landlords. So that's a big issue with pet discrimination. Let's see, so we're being charged with pet rent, non-refundable deposits, refundable deposits. There are also breed restrictions. There are also number of pet restrictions. So let's see, and when you're restricting how many or anything like that, when it comes to people in their animal families, that should be the exact same as any part of their families. Are you going to restrict people's children and how many? Because I covered that in another video where landlords were discriminating and it was allowed until people finally fought against that, where there were no kids allowed in properties years ago. So this is something that we need to change now for animals, and we need to let go of this two-pet limit or size limit. It's no different than racism. It's really the same thing as being racist. And today, it's been so proven that living with our animals helps us with health, with feeling better, with being less stressed. And when you think about it, people are probably a lot less violent because they've come home to their loving animal families. Restricting breeds is definitely racism. If any animal or any person harms someone, that person or animal should be dealt with in whatever way that you need to. But to restrict a whole race or breed due to one person or one animal doing something, well, hopefully people recognize that's a bit of insanity. And okay, so then to prove that this is clear discrimination, I cover the cost, which is also an issue that I dealt with in all of these apartments and condos, the smoking cost risks, um, they have to, after a smoker has moved out, they usually have to totally replace the carpet and padding. If animals have maybe left a stain somewhere, they can replace a little portion. But with smokers, it's everywhere. It literally gets thoroughly into the carpet and padding, the walls, the blinds, the ceiling, the everything, the appliances. They do extra coats of paint and the special kills and everything they can do. It costs a lot more to be repainting the walls and the ceilings once someone has smoked in the apartment. You have to clean out the whole ventilation system because it has gotten in not only in the apartment that's been smoked in, but it gets into neighboring apartments. So very often smokers are doing damage to neighbors' apartments, definitely to the neighbors themselves because they're sharing the air, so in the breath for sure, in the breathing. Very often they have to replace appliances because they cannot get the smoke out. They have to replace blinds and curtains, and there is just so much in damages automatically caused by someone who is smoking in an apartment, and there is no such thing as smoker's rent or smoker's deposits, whether refundable or non-refundable. And those are automatic damages. It's not like if someone moves in who smokes, you wonder, will there be damage or not? There is no wonder yes or no. It's automatic. In addition to that, when smokers move in, it's an automatic fire risk. The risk of damage, excuse me, to um, not only damage to their own unit, the possible damage to the whole building, the life or threat damage to other people and other animals who live there if there should be a fire. Now, when you compare this, and the fact that there is no smoker's rent, no smoker's deposits, and my goal is not to start having smoker's rent and smoker's deposits and things like that. That is absolutely not what I'm looking for. My goal is to stop the pet discrimination. It's just insanity of what has gone on back and forth with this pet discrimination, what these management companies and landlords are allowed to get away with. They've learned other people are doing it, so they do it, and they get to profit really high from this. So, there are college students that are known to cause damage, but you don't charge extra rent for college students or extra non-refundable deposits because they're a college student. Same thing with children. You cannot charge children rent or non-refundable children deposits. And from what I hear from everyone, including people who have children, is kids cause a lot more damage than animals do. So I really wanted to do this a lot shorter, but I'm trying to get in as much as possible. Okay, another issue is carpet risks. um, One thing that I'd love to see removed from rentals is carpet. It's horrible for our allergies. If you have animals, it's not the greatest thing. If you have smokers, any possible thing that you have that's not good is going to be held into carpets. If you have bug issues, you're going to have eggs and larvae and everything possible that'll make it impossible to get out of carpets, which then means you're forced to use toxic chemicals and be breathing that in, and still it can be very, very difficult to get anything out of carpets. So I am covering a few issues here. The main topic is pet discrimination. It really needs to stop to have healthier families, lower our taxes, and of course I'm including the smokers issue. In my separate smokers YouTube videos, I'm really looking for win-win. Places that whole complexes have no smoking whatsoever and whole complexes that allow smoking. I'm not looking for places where smoking can be done elsewhere on the property because it really does then come into the apartments if they're smoking on patios. Okay, that's about it for today. I'll try to be a little bit more organized next time, but I've been informed by people who also have these same issues and the shelters that have dealt with these types of things that very sadly they're taking in animals all the time because they'll find strays and they have to bring them to the shelters because their apartments are either not allowing them or limiting the number of how many or charging them and astronomical fees that are ridiculous. So if you want your taxes lowered, if you want happy tenants, now you know what to do. So let's get with it, management companies. Thanks.